Um, with regard to our 2020 to 2025 strategy, which was just launched earlier this year, obviously the world changed very dramatically, and we realized that there was an important moment for us to review that strategy and to see what adaptations were necessary to be more relevant and responsive in the current context. Right. So we still believe that our work on getting a good deal and our work on helping to manage revenues in ways that are transparent and accountable and taking advantage of the needs for future generations are still true. But now we are seeking to deepen our work on navigating the energy transition and on addressing capture and corruption. In terms of our ways of working, in times of crisis, we think it's incredibly important to double down on your strengths. So we have been focusing on the context-specific, robust and rigorous analysis that we are known for and that we think is critically important to inform the policy debates that are ahead for these resource-rich countries. However, our in-country presence is another asset that we are seeking to leverage, but it comes with particular challenges. One of the assets that NRGI has had is its credibility and the reputation we have built being able to convene different stakeholders and being able to transfer knowledge and ensure it translates into action. But frankly speaking, many of those approaches are in person. And so we've now had to come up with new ways of being able to manage and sustain relationships when many either are facing technological challenges, they can't just hop on a Zoom call, or honestly are just needing to do a cultural shift to be able to feel that the digital world is a safe space in which they can continue to build confidence, dialogue, and trust. So that was very much a work in progress, I would say. In Guinea, there is a new opportunity, we believe, to engage in the debate on resource-backed loans. So as you may be aware, resource-backed loans are basically loans that are to be repaid with future streams from revenues from the mining sector in the case of Guinea. And in 2017, there is a $20 billion deal that was signed with China for this loan. And there's been a lot of complexity around it, a lot of uncertainty, but frankly also a lot of opacity. Back in 2019, the EITI report recommended that this RBL agreement actually be made public, but we haven't seen any action since then. In the first quarter of 2020, the mining revenues were still largely on track, but the pandemic and the global recession is likely to have significant impact in Guinea and may impact the ability of government to actually repay this loan. So because this conversation about the economic crisis is coming to bear in Guinea, we are seeing an opportunity to work with our civil society partners to raise awareness of the risks associated to resource-backed lending, but also to work with the government to ensure that they are able to address and anticipate some of the risks that are ahead. So we're seeing in some ways that the pandemic can actually be an opener for conversations that were previously closed in many of these countries. Countries around the world are facing a variety of different challenges as they are contemplating reopening and the path to recovery and resilience for years to come. But we know that resource-rich countries in particular face tremendous challenges because they are coming from a history of poverty, a history of corruption. Many are already deeply indebted, and the resources that they would tap to be able to fund the recovery are now worth so much less than they were just a matter of a few months ago. And so countries that are resource rich are actually really revenue poor. And so because of this and because of the deep need and drive for economic recovery and the crisis we find ourselves in, there is a tremendous risk that in pursuit of these revenues, governments will actually engage in a race to the bottom. And what we mean by that is that they may provide incentives for governments or give harmful and unjustified tax breaks or rolling back environmental and social standards so that they can attract investment. So working with our civil society partners around the world, we are trying to monitor these efforts and make sure that anytime there is a move towards the race to the bottom, we are able to raise awareness of it and to ensure that there is public debate and dialogue around the decisions that are being taken.